Good morning. Welcome to it. This is the Sunrise Breakfast Show. This is the great day, a great day that the Lord has made, and we'll rejoice and be glad in it. My name is Saidlis Nkonjara. I'll be with you this morning together with my bunch of, I don't know what word to call them. I will find it as we go on. But my bunch of minions. One of them, Kausa Mbasela. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm glad I qualified as a minion.
As a minion, yeah?
I didn't know.
All right, Mavuto Piri and Kelvin are going to be joining us a little later. This morning, we take a look at some stories making headlines. One of them being that Zambia has a shortage of drugs. This is as reported by the Ministry of Health, and also that the Ministry of Health has failed to explain or refused to comment on the over $12 million debt to drug supplier. And also, we're going to be looking at the Presidential Empowerment Fund, which is meant for cadres, according to Kafue MP. And there was some commotion in Tendere over the weekend, which continued into the week, where PF youths have been fighting over the control of Mtendere bus station. So we're going to be looking at those stories this morning. Kausa, take your pick.
Oh, well, none of these things is surprising to me. So, yeah. I mean, we declared austerity measures in 2018 because our economy was limping, and that meant that a lot of expenditure was going to be cut. I wasn't sure about which sectors would be affected the most, by the way, and so I was eager to see what the Ministry of Finance under Margaret Manankatwe then would do. Of course, there were some other projects that took off, prioritized. Others still were halted. And 2018 is 2 years ago. And now we realize for 2 years we have not paid a supply of drugs to Zambia. So it's austerity measures. Then we have COVID-19, which we are now told has led to the stemming of supply of drugs from a global perspective, which has led to Zambia having a shortage of supplies in terms of drugs. But even before COVID, which was only started this year, at least in Zambia, we've had shortages of medicines in the country. And so, well, it's... I struggle to, to understand how this really is attached to COVID completely.
All right, we're going to be looking at that story, I think, for starters, and then we'll get into other health-related stories before we get to, the politics of this country. All right, so the Ministry of Health is tight-lipped over the $12 million debt to drug supplier. Cipla Quality Chemicals Uganda, one of the biggest manufacturers of drugs in that country, has suspended exports to Zambia over unpaid invoices on products worth an estimated $12 million. According to various published reports, the Ugandan branch of the multinational company, headquartered in Mumbai, India, says the debt has accumulated over a period of 2 years. The company, which was established in 2005, manufactures antiretroviral ARVs, antihistamine-based combination therapies, ACTs, and hepatitis medicines to treat HIV/AIDS. malaria and hepatitis respectively. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has declined to comment on the matter. Let's have a look at this picture. Then on the other side, we continue with the conversation. Good morning.
A shortage of various medical drugs. Permanent Secretary for Technical Services in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Kennedy Malama, has confirmed this, saying that there is a low supply of certain drugs. In turn, Dr. Malama blames the COVID-19 pandemic, saying it has disrupted the global supply chain.
It's possible there could be one or two drugs which may not be there, but it's incumbent upon that health facility to ensure that our people are given an alternative. For instance, if you say drugs for HIV, I don't expect to hear of any shortage in our country, because I know we are commodity secure. When you ask me for drugs for TB, for instance, I know we are commodity secure. There are some drugs we've had a challenge, and the main reason has been the global supply challenge. You know, COVID-19 also has brought in a number of challenges. Some orders which were placed by companies who are localized in Zambia, but also ourselves as Ministry of Health. Some of these consignments have been quarantined elsewhere, and the coming in has delayed.
Testing kits for COVID-19 have not been spared, as the country is currently running on a low supply.
Again, testing has not been spared by the global supply challenge. I can inform you that we placed quite a number of orders to get the testing reagents for various platforms. Some of these are still yet to come.
Zambia has today recorded 91 COVID-19 cases out of 599 tests carried out, bringing the cumulative number to 11,379. 294 patients have been discharged, leaving the total number at 10,692. 57 patients remain in isolation at Leve Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital COVID-19 Center.
In the last 24 hours, Zambia has recorded 91 new cases of COVID-19 out of a total of 599 tests conducted. This therefore brings the cumulative number of COVID-19 cases in Zambia to 11,376. The 91 cases we are reporting on in the last 24 hours include 34 contacts to known cases in Lusaka, 31, Ndola, 2, Kitwe, 1. We also had 30 individuals whom we identified through hospital screening, Lusaka 20, Ndola 10. We had 27 individuals identified through routine screening in Lusaka 25 and in Ndola 2.
With 32 on oxygen support, 6 in the intensive care unit, and 1 on a ventilator. Chilongo, Virginia, Muvi TV News in Lusaka.
All right, so that is the update on the number of cases this country is, has recorded so far. Now, the issue to do with drugs is an issue, Kausa, that reminds me of a conversation we had last week. Hello, good morning.
How are you?
Very fine, thank you. How are you, sir?
Okay.
All right. This is Muvi TV, and you're through to the Sunrise Breakfast Show. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Chiro from Mateo.
Achirwa.
I'm Dara.
Okabwanji.
Obi.
Toka Magora.
Okay.
Go ahead with your contribution.
I don't know the topic you're having today.
We're talking about the Ministry of Health has said that Zambia has a shortage of drugs. That's one of the stories that we're looking at. Then also, the Ministry of Health is refusing to comment over the 12 million debt to drug suppliers that has been, unearthed. Then also, that the PF youths who are fighting for control over Mtendere bus station. These are some of the stories that we are talking about, of course, coupled with Presidential Empowerment Fund meant for cadres. This is according to the Kafue MP. She's saying that the Presidential Empowerment Fund seems to only be benefiting PF cadres.
Okay. Okay. Let me digest a bit, then I'll call you later.
Very much, Achille.
Thank you.
So, Kausa, last week we had a conversation, and if I remember very well, PF Lusaka Secretary Kennedy Gamba had made a statement saying that we have done everything. There are drugs in hospitals. This is a different case when you hear from the people that are actually running the hospitals.
So Kennedy Kamba is a political party affiliate, is what you call a cadre. And the Ministry of Health has got what you call technocrats. I would rather listen to the technocrats. And if you remember, I did say Kennedy Kamba should sit down and keep quiet. In fact, I said he should shut up. I reiterate what I said. Because look, what he said was political rhetoric. And what the technocrats have said is the factual information. Yes, we are running towards an election. Yes, we want to prove our political relevance to the appointing authority, who in this case is the president, because he's the president both of the state, his head of state, and he's also the president of the Patriotic Front, which is the ruling party. And so we want to appease him by looking like we are functional and we're making statements that are seemingly putting the party in good stead. But when you say things that are far from the truth, you're actually putting the party in bad state. And so before we open our mouths to make statements, I would love that we are, researched and, well informed. Clearly, Kennedy Kamba on this particular issue is uninformed, not even well informed or badly informed, just uninformed about the reality. And so I repeat, he should keep quiet and, desist from making such statements, because they're making him look unresearched, making him look irrelevant. Because, alas, here we are. The technocrats and the Ministry of Health, who are the people that know how much medicine is in the country, have given us a statement and said, well, we have a shortage of medicines. So the shortage of medicines start, first of all, from the storage places, and this translates into hospitals. Because if the mouth is not receiving food, the stomach cannot be full. So the stomach, which in this case is the hospital, has no food, because the mouth, which is the storage facilities, has not received any medicines. So Kennedy Kamba should, desist. It would be wise for him to perhaps consult, and it does no harm, to be honest. As Innocent said, the lies have short legs. It's interesting.
That statement came from Innocent?
Yes, it's interesting coming from a person who is not so tall himself.
All right. Allow me to bring to this table Kelvin Tifokolo, the diesel engine. Good morning.
Good morning, Esed. Good morning, Vaniko.
Morning. How are you?
Good.
All right. And Mavuto Piri, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. We do have very little time today. To you, our viewers, the breakfast show for today will be closing a little early. So please do get involved in the conversation.
It's not that we don't have food.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. That they should know that we have enough food.
Because, like you are saying, that the breakfast show for today is going to be short. People say, no, obviously, Masauka, you've run out of food.
Of breakfast.
But we have enough in stock. Not like what is happening in the Ministry of Health. We have enough in our storage.
We have enough in our storage. All right. So please do get involved. Let's get interactive as we discuss what is going on in this country. Mavuto and Kelvin. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Kindly give us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling within Lusaka, Kaunda Square. My name is Xavier.
Yeah, please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, sir. I've heard your conversation here this morning. Yeah, like issue ya mankwala mu country patu. Yeah, the problem is ni basogoledi. Sogoledi ndi aneswa ikakonzeru kulangana vamano twakazina mizira tini va coronavirus COVID-19 nabwera liti. Olo tikalangana kumbuyo ku nkanyama nkwa ndiye issue mankala mu hospital. Even though time na COVID-19 ikalipoyamba. Issue ya mankwala amene timadandaula po mu hospital. Ukaenda ku hospital pezikati bakugulira bakulembera kapepa endani mugule mankwala mu chemistry ya so. Bazi wana mama chemistry mwamene bamayika mankwala pa doctors. Hospital akapura mankwala swat caring abatenga mankwala aja baindo pangira po profit but baibala tikuli bantu bena ngosauka bamene siwakwanisa kugula mankwala. Kuli bantu bena ngosauka bamene bakangwana peza chokuke but balembera mankwala ya 250 300 but mankwala kungotenga free manye nchi government yatutenda koti. Futi tikalangana pa issue ya makadazi. Mabus station sometimes oloenda kunchito. Kuchitano yopa kukwelera pa station. Ndizo why chifukwa makati aoneka munga atenga mpango wa president wa Debao. Stiziva kuti ni country iti oro mu Africa tikalangana news BBC World News wakama Zambia ndiye muri ma issues. Hospital kopa belt many hospital. Pamene besolangi yabanati nga ma pictures ya hospital now nongeka bakoso all over ma hospital. Bantu umuntu alikone batuke kuja bakoso but in many hospital. So vonse vitakalangana hivi tivamene tinga kwanise kuti government ititandize or bakambati yo government ititandize tingaitandize ngati eve yaikakonzero. So ma hospital watu wakazina mizira tiyo ni COVID-19. COVID-19 inabwera liti. COVID-19 inabwera manja hapa. Mankwala anamba ni kudala kushota mu makliniki. Ukae tinaleta maenda mu makliniki, timaenda mu private. Thank you.
Birds through. The phone lines are closed. We're going to be opening the phone lines at 7:45. Please do call in at that time. Gentlemen, let's eat breakfast. Mavuto, Kelvin, I would like to get your comment on the shortage of medicines in this country.
What is killing this country is the issue of propaganda, whereby you know that this is what is on the ground, but you want to paint a different picture, or want to portray a different picture. I remember coming here and I shared my experience with you guys, what I went through with Chelston Clinic. So I took my mom there, and I was told there are no beddings. I was told to go back home. That was around 01. I had to go back home to go and get beddings because that is a zone hospital which has got no beddings. I remember also a caller who called. Was it a week after? He also shared similar experience from Kaunda Square Stage 2, if I'm not mistaken. From there, we had Christopher from Ngombe also shared with us what is happening with the Ngombe clinic. So this is what is on the ground. Technocrats, they know that professionals, they know that this is on the ground. This is what is on the ground. Even political party cadres, they know that this is what is on the ground. But they want to mislead the general public by telling them that this is the picture, this is not the picture. Kausam was talking about the issue of Kenneth Camp. I remember also talking about the same when he said, no, we've built hospitals, go to Levy, go to UTH, there's medicine there. But a day after or two, if I'm not mistaken, the president, Mavuto's party, a precious court. And she also shared with us the experience that she went through when she took a relative at University Teaching Hospital. So the issue of this country, of our hospitals, our clinics, having no drugs or the shortage of drugs is everywhere. It's countrywide. And we all know that this is what is on the ground. But propaganda is what is killing this country. Propaganda is what is killing this country. I remember in 2011, Michael Chilfiasata was taught, Boss Mapita Kudala, everything is okay. Mugali popular background. When things were the opposite. This is what is happening also with the PF. They know that there are no medicines. They know that things are not okay in this country. But they still want to portray a different picture by lying to the people, telling them that everything is okay. For me, like Kaus has mentioned, it's high time that I stop listening to cadres, and I want to agree with what the Ministry of Health has disclosed. Although someone was saying we consider Wampisha Nchito because Swamafuna Koza Vazon.
Mavuto.
I think the biggest danger or enmity to ourselves is the failure to say the truth. Why am I saying that? In that we know, is it not just over the weekend that we had a 23-year-old doctor died in Kabwe when a family was merely asking for
painkillers?
I end there.
All right, let's go to Southern Province. These stories are related to some extent. Now, a woman of Mwapona compound in Joma district, Southern Province, is incensed that a combined COVID-19 inspection team consisting of officers from the District Commissioner's Office, Council, and Zambia Police carried out a test with faulty apparatus. Rolene Simatoe wonders how people are found positive or otherwise when their equipment is dysfunctional. Now, Ms. Simatoe, who rushed to railway surgery clinic for second round test and was told that everything was just okay. She says she has called on the provincial minister, Edify Hamugale, to discipline his officers because what they're doing is unfair. Let's have a look at this woman in distress, and then we continue with the conversation from Southern Province.
Abai becho bajita kabo inyaguga utatuwa ute bulwazita buwo bulwaziko buli masimba konya abai becho bajita ndi bantu bajiswa COVID-19 ma patients ba COVID-19 bali bahi patani ngide kupe abantu bagayi kamo tiyandi bote gwinda muri bwatu jatide kuseni batu jata kuseni we waited there, we are going for week where we are taken to the clinic, and all of us who are taken there at the clinic, no one was found that maybe is positive for COVID-19 or maybe temperature was high. No, everyone the temperature was just normal. So by becho bajita abantu bapima COVID-19 ma mention zabadi it's better kaba belesha to my thermometers from the clinic kusha kaba was ma correct readings. That was embarrassing what happened today in the morning. Everyone who knows me, they're just asking me, Lauren, what's happening? Well, that's being unfair. So by becho bajita yeah, I'm really still which senja. Even to once everyone who knows me, they are questioning me about what happened in the morning. Ask me, no, Lauren, we have heard that you are caught, you are found that you are positive of COVID-19, of which is not true. It was so embarrassing, so shameful to me. I didn't like it, okay? Yes. The council and the police. The lomba ba disibantu bene mubayambi shishe. Ikutede niba hibe choba jita bainga aroda na ikupima ibantu balabulwazi ba COVID-19. Not do that ngumwa yes, but like this time is hot. Imodwa wapenda muzuba ngakupima machine yala kandi the temperature is high kamba kazuba di moma. No meanwhile the temperature is normal.
All right, so that's a woman from Southern Province complaining there that she had been tested for COVID-19 and the results came out as positive. then had gone for a second round at a different institution where she was told that they were negative. She suspects that the apparatus being used is faulty.
So John Pombe Magufuli is the Tanzanian president. So deliberately he says, okay, let's get samples of a goat, of a fruit, papaya, otherwise known as popo, and diesel as well. And his team tells him, yes, this sample is positive. And if you've listened to what he says, for him, he said, look, there's no such thing as COVID-19. Well, of course, we've seen people die of COVID-19 in this country. I don't want to trivialize it like he has. But how is a papaya, a fruit, positive of COVID-19? How is diesel positive of COVID-19? One suspects that, there are funds available, to countries to help fight the scourge. One wouldn't be too far from speculating that perhaps figures have been concocted, because look, even our Ministry of Health has not counted the cases very well. There are several times when, the cases, when you put them together, are amiss. And this is a ministry. You do not expect that the ministry, where you have technocrats, will fail to count. But to talk about this particular matter in its context, this woman is tested and she's found positive of COVID-19. Then, in a second test, is found negative. I don't know what to say about the apparatus. That's an experience that she had. And so for me is how many tests are being carried out for the people whose results we are being told. And that's something perhaps we need to look at, because we've been told by the Ministry of Health that now we're able to test countrywide in all provinces. So I think these are some of the things that we should perhaps pay particular attention to.
All right, now that we have the health side of things out of the way, allow me
it's
to...
not out of the way, because look, a young person, 23 years old, died because people failed to...
I think you can read that.
That's why I'm going.
We have understanding.
To administer painkillers. It's shameful.
All right, that's where I'm going right now. So now there's a story that we did carry yesterday. This is coming from one Sir Joseph Mulenga in Pamozi, Ndola, on the Copperbelt. Now, this is what he posted on his Facebook, which he asked us to share. So no patient, relative especially, mother, should go through what my mother and I went through at Kabwe General Hospital Friday into Saturday morning. The system failed you, my beautiful sister. As a doctor, you were still... I had to plead. As a doctor, I had to plead and beg for painkillers. We also had to plead for you to be seen that night, Friday. This is too painful, Abby. My last memories of you are you in severe pain, crying out for life. I even told them that, but they ignored. The system failed you, my baby sister. I just had to express myself before you are laid to rest. 2 months, no pay yet. You worked for them diligently. Then today they want to give you your salary for 2 months. My sister, this is hard. What do I do with the budget we made? How do you traumatize a mother with restraining her daughter for hours with no help? My eyes are teary. Sorry, it is quite...
It is sad, and you see when submissions were being made, I was reminded of that situation. You can't lie, you can't cheat about critical situations. And this now is intending to expose us. And the only thing, this is a doctor who's been trained at a higher cost. And I was told during her school days in secondary schools, she was the best literature pupil.
No, not
she
just
got
in
to university,
not-
but I haven't
not-
finished.
not
I'm
just in
submitting.
secondary school, even where she was in Ukraine, she was the top student. This is such a person that we have lost. You know, I am particularly incensed because look, there's one thing that comes out of that particular story though from the brother. He says, despite the fact that you were a doctor, and we made it clearly known to the people there, they did not treat you as such, one of their own. You remember I said I went to a certain health facility, and people were at sunbathing,
Sunbasking.
bayotera kazuba. People are ill. Bantu bayotera kazuba. People in the health sector, because of their negligence, are killing people. Gabriel Namulambe at one point went to Arthur Davison Hospital where he had taken a child. And he was seated. A mother was complaining about a particular child, and he said something to one of the nurses. She responded to him in a very funny way. Then he was, I think he was deputy minister. And this person did not know who she was talking to. The consequences for that health practitioner were dire after that incident. But this is the sort of attitude that is existent in our health facilities. And then Kennedy Kamba should come and talk about nonsense here.
This issue has even reminded me of the Zambezi saga of Ian, where you've got a district hospital, and then they decide to put a member of staff or to allow a member of staff to use public transport, and we know what happened. And up to now, people are still waiting for the report because we were told the Zambezi hospital has got ambulances. There are vehicles there. I remember having a chat with the area member of parliament, Brian Kambita, who told me, say, there are vehicles there.
The gentleman, Ian, was given a state-sponsored funeral, yes?
His body, his remains were airlifted.
This young lady worked in the Ministry of Health. How many months was she not paid?
2 months. But they want to pay her now. Even for Ian, when he died, money was available. A chopper was used. But when he was alive, he was told to say use the public transport. When vehicles are there at Zambezi, the area member of parliament confirmed, even with the doctor in charge of the entire district, confirmed that there are vehicles there.
Kelvin, it was on this show that somebody came and said, he said, as newly recruited doctors.
Yes.
What are we fighting
Dr. Sampa.
Yes. What are we fighting for? We are fighting for harmonization of when we were given, you know, our contracts.
Our contracts.
And when we are supposed to have been employed.
These are doctors, two different letters.
There's a disparity. The Ministry of Health gives you one letter, and is it
PSMD?
Yes. PSMD gives you a different letter, but it's
different dates, different months,
different dates of employment. And this is government. This is the highest functional machine in the land, and we're having such disparities. I feel very aggrieved that we have lost a young doctor. Why? We have a critical shortage of doctors in this country. We are being told by the Ministry of Health that we have a shortage of drugs. And then some political cadre should come here with the...
Listen, this is a very painful story or painful discussion that we're having this morning because it starts with drugs, it goes with the issue of negligence, it goes with the issue of transportation. I've just raised an issue of Ian here. And from that story, the story of the young doctor that we've lost, she wasn't paid for 2 months. And they want to pay her now. Despite them, the family, telling the doctor, because, I mean, How?
Painkillers.
How?
Painkillers.
Painkillers.
When you look at this situation in another angle, she's part of the health workers
Yes.
who are frontline staff in battling COVID-19.
Exactly.
Who the
You
ministry.
go to health centers today, listen, go to health centers today, where people, we are told COVID-19 is a deadly pandemic. Go to health centers and tell me how many of the people in our health centers have the PPEs. Go there.
But PPEs have been donated. We've seen PPEs being donated in this country.
Go to the health center.
But they keep saying that there's shortage of PPE because there are several, countries in need and the supply is low. So the demand is high, the supply is very low.
It is not our fault because we demand these things from the World Health Organization, and they are supplied as and when they are available. Also as and when they are demanded. This is why we, are in a mess, because we have not been forward thinking. Today, SN, we are busy importing uniforms for people in our defense forces. Previously, we made our own uniforms. Today, people are getting contracts to supply uniforms to the army, to supply uniforms to everywhere. And we're even making parliamentary ministerial statements. We have imported so many uniforms for nurses, and we used to make these things ourselves. What has gone wrong that now we should be importing these things? Why should a person die because they can't be given a painkiller?
Mavuto, before I bring in
how many
the
more
callers,
people have died whose stories have not been told the way the story of Abigail has been told, because she was, in a sense, a high-profile person because of her qualifications? How many people are dying in the village? How many people are dying in these
Compounds.
How many people are we losing because of such negligence?
And then someone should come and tell you, say, no, we've done a lot. We've got to this hospital, their medicine. Ask the people in the villages who've taken health facilities closer to the people. If people cannot be saved in those health facilities or hospitals that we've taken closer to their villages, but people cannot be helped, then what are you doing? Should you just continue propagating, or should you just continue lying to the people that you have delivered when actually you haven't delivered? A lot of people are dying, high profile people are dying. Even those people in villages and compounds have continued to die, and you still want to claim that you've delivered? Come on. It's only I want to.
Mavuto, allow me to get the last round of comment from you before I allow our viewers contribute on this topic.
I think there are many classical examples that we can give about the declining standards of our health system. You are aware at one time, as we were speaking, it reminded me of, I think that must have been a baby of about a year and months, who the mother ran away from UTH. You remember that story?
Yes.
Yes, because she felt that that child was not particularly being attended to properly. But you remember the backlash that we had received from the medical experts.
They're actually twins, one of them had died.
Yes, that we had no clear understanding of what was happening. But now you have a situation where a doctor, one of their own, passes on for failure to give her the medicine. What does it mean? You remember what my submission yesterday was when I indicated that many a times that we propagate at the highest level that this is what we are doing, yet there's nothing. Another classical example that the world has been laughing at us is the issue of the Ndola, the Kitwe General Hospital, that even before you sleep, rats are all over the hospital. It has to take the minister to go and shout at the administrators at the hospital to ensure that the conditions are improved. But for me, I think that tells you a million of stories in the absence of the truth, where political cadres, because they've got food in their mouth, would want to hide and cheat to the Zambian people that everything is in order. So what is needed about this country is for honesty. Even when you're in politics, you should be able to come out and communicate if there are challenges. I think the only thing that we've done to the politicians is that we've given them the political power to be able to manage us. But clearly they are failing, and it is my considered view each and every day lately that I insist that there is no opposition political parties in Zambia. Because imagine if there were the times of Michael Chilufyasat having a doctor dying among doctors who is supposed to save lives. And this is not just an ordinary doctor, a brilliant doctor, very young at age. Today people should not be surprised that many are people that have been employed in the system, yet they've not ever been paid their money. I think the other time we had a doctor who was scared here to speak out on the challenges that some of these newly employed doctors are faced with. So I think we are a country that is not honest to itself. We have no respect, especially for me, for technocrats. Who is Kamba? And I wonder what kind of journalism we practice. Because Ngombe Kadwala, why would you want to go and interview Kamba? There is a veterinary doctor who you were supposed to interview in terms of the condition of that particular cattle or cow. So I think for me, most of the time, we've brought people to the fore who are not even competent to talk about some of these things. Yes, I've had an ailing mother in terms of sugar. I'll tell you, for the last 1 year, I've driven almost to every clinic in Lusaka, unless I'm challenged. I'm ready to be challenged. I think that card is actually even in the office. I've been literally going with that card to every medical facility in this country. But they'll tell you there's nothing. And when you look at the cost of insulin today, I remember initially when I bought it, it was around 120. People are buying 250. And you have to part away with this money almost on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So there are all these challenges, but we sit and we want to hide that things are in order. The story of our sister also in Choma, makes very sad reading. We should not be surprised that we have got so many BIDs. It could be that people are being diagnosed with statuses that they don't have. And once you return home, you just collapse and people say, banafana BP. Even when you have had COVID. Because we are using these 40 and dead equipment in our institutions. I know at global level, the biggest challenge we have is that everybody is competing for these apparatus. But it doesn't make you to cheat to the people that you are conducting screening. First of all, those same people that are going out there are being paid allowances, not so?
Yes.
So the people are being paid for lying, for cheating.
They want to bring out numbers.
And you see, we are a country that is sitting, laughing, jubilating, and say, oh, so people are dying. You remember when there were the first cases of about 23 people that had died within Lusaka? You remember what I told you? I said, if we had a serious government in place, do you know the first thing we should have done? We should have subjected that to an inquiry to be able to understand why are people dying at such a rate. But what did we do? We just looked at the numbers and laughed at them and say, oh, can we move on? They've died. Every day you open social media today, it's either a person you are related to, or the next said is related to, or the next is related to, or the next cause is related to has died. So the way we are seated here, if we're open to open social media, you realize 4 people that are direct in contact with us, or people we know, have died. But as a country,
as if everything is normal.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm just confused.
One of the things that you have mentioned, which has brought me back, the issue, for example, to do with the rats at Kitwe Central Hospital. The statement coming from the minister are going to deal with the management. They had received some fund, but they have not utilized the fund to rehabilitate the place, and it ends like that. Hello, good morning. Morning, thank you.
Hello?
Hello, good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
Kilo from Kilo again.
Mr. Chirwa, go ahead.
Yeah, on the drugs, the Congo drugs on that. How can the government Congo drugs? That is not fair. On that, Congo manje for if our debt was 20,000, now we should send that it's also 2,000 more now. Which is not fair. No. That is the debt also. So when it come out like 2,000, if it was 50,000, then now it's 2,000. Right. Huh? No, it's another thing, you know, so. Then in a charity now, Dania, China, Kumpinde, that is not to me. If those guys were empowered, they should be fighting over this thing. Huh? They should be empowered, those guys, they are perfectly their business. Eh? Once the government achieves about those guys who build the city, become thieves, they have nothing to do. That's how those guys are fighting over stations more now. Thank you.
Mr. Chiro. So I was saying the statement that came in from the minister was, and it's done like that. What is the progress on that? Isn't he supposed to have updated us and said, this is what we have done so far, and the story to do with rats at Kitwe, we had never commented on it on this platform.
Said, it's business as usual. Nothing will change. When you have ministers who are busy trekking to the court for certain charges, do you think these ministries and departments will change? For me, once such a thing is found out, the best thing to do is suspend the people for an investigation. Because it's an indication that people have failed to manage that particular institution. What we need as a country is to have leadership that inspires the people. And that's why people say, can you be able to professionalize these institutions? Because most of the times you've got political cadres that are in charge, then look at the decisions that are made disastrous. So how do you tally the behavior of Kamba with what is happening on the ground? When people are dying, then a political party cadre comes and tells you everything is in order. Don't worry, we are in charge. We've built the infrastructure. Yes, you can build infrastructure. But when people are sleeping there without beds, when people are sleeping without... It's just the other week Fogolo was telling us that when the mother was sick, he had to go with a blanket to the hospital. My president, with due respect, good morning, Madam President, this morning, did go in to say the situation was not different at the University Teaching Hospital. So there are all these compounded challenges that we are faced with, and we can't come out to own up and begin to address the challenges that are affecting our health sector. So what we need to do is, first of all, those in charge should be able to apologize to us for misleading us, for telling us that these things are there. When you go there, they're not there. 3/4 of the people, even the minister himself, noted the other week that many of the people, for COVID-related conditions, they were actually rushing to private institutions. Because people would rather spend millions than go to what people are telling us, everything is there, and look at these institutions as death traps. For me, whether you like it or not, said, is that our government-controlled health institutions are death traps. If one of their own had to beg on our way to the grave for just a Panadol, nipe mpako wantu wanga imwe, ntandizeni, educated at a high cost, seeing a person sliding into the grave in such a manner, it hurts. What are you telling us? This is a future that never reached its peak. We were yet to get the best out of that female doctor. But what did we get? We were going at. But by the health system, we've been told it's well equipped. Medicine is there. When a doctor in tears ended up dying, begging our colleagues, guys, nipembako Panadol. But that Panadol was not there. Think of a mother.
So we owe her Panadol. We also owe her salary.
But we are ready to pay her. We are ready to pay her for 2 months.
What kind of a country is
And
this
now-
that we've got full of sadists?
We owe an Indian company
Yeah.
228 million kwacha, which is the 12 million US dollars. That's 228 million kwacha. The ministry has refused to comment on the matter. However, they have told us that there's a drug shortage in the country, and the drug shortage is motivated by the fact that
They have stopped supplying us.
the supply chain has been disrupted because of
We
COVID-19. Trinangkongole, but the supply chain has been disrupted because of COVID-19. It is not the debt that we owe. It is COVID-19 that has disrupted the supply chain.
Allow me to bring in a few comments.
Kausa,
from those
no. Let Kausa say something,
following
because
us.
no. Kausa is not clear. Kausa, the PS yesterday admitted that we've got there is a shortage of drugs.
Yes.
Then we are told that we owe this company, which has been supplying us drugs.
Yes.
And you want to say, no, we've got a shortage because of COVID.
Yes. The supply chain has been disrupted because of COVID-19.
Not because of the money that we owe.
On that matter,
As far as
refused
the
to
ministry is concerned, we have a shortage.
Yes.
in medicine.
Yes,
because
yes.
of
Yes.
COVID-19, which has disrupted the supply chain.
Yes,
Not that we owe.
that's a matter they're not ready to comment on. All right. So
They have commented indirectly.
David.
You've got a minister who tells you that no, but when he was lying to say he drafted the. But what I have is a proposal from the Minister of Finance from South Africa. But the minister tells you, say, I'm the one who drafted. Then you refuse, say, point out.
Yeah.
But what I have in my office
Nothing
is a proposal from the Minister of Finance.
Medicine or drugs.
The
We
bad
just say
part
we don't have
is
them.
you
No,
are told that it's a BIG. That's from David Denzo Makombe. Abraham Sikupu says, watching from Monze urban area, this is really bad. The country is indeed loss of leadership, but all shall be well. All right. Then David comes back and says, in Kitwe Central Hospital, before we talk about the rats, what is about the patient on the bed without mattresses, beddings? We have that video, guys, upstairs. If we can run it over as we, prepare to wind up with the show. What about the patient on that bed without mattress, beddings? There was just cat boxes. And then Martha Kabwe says, hey, do you have to pay for sugar testing at 10 kwacha, which is not receipted, and nurses move with the testers in their pockets while they pocket their money? I wonder where a villager would get the 10 kwacha when they are failing to get a 2 kwacha for grinding their millimil. Then Moses says, Mavuto, it was not Sata, but a Zambian. All right. Then these are some of the contributions. And the last one from Owen Mangabo says, and suppliers for urgent COVID-19 materials, masks have not been paid. 2 months, 3 weeks after delivery, there's the COVID bonds funds and the donated funds. Please, something is very amiss at the Ministry of Health, countrymen and women.
DMMU, Chandaka,
Yes.
said we are paying. We are paying.
Yes.
So to hear somebody actually saying that the suppliers have not been paid, I mean...
Some have been paid.
If you're not cheater, you'll be paid.
My comment, gentlemen, this morning is this, and maybe it would be my last comment, but one life lost is a life too many. I end.
All right. I would want us to end this show, but before we end this show, we have a video of, the happenings at Kitwe Central Hospital. Rat-infested Kitwe Central Hospital.
Is it not a teaching hospital?
It's
a central hospital.
In a city. Look at that bed. It has no mattress. This is in a city.
Yes. This is in a
city.
Kitwe.
There's no mattress on that bed.
Then someone comes.
There's no mattress on the bed after. You see that? There
Nini bed yako sasa. You can see them.
But like Mavuto was saying, you know, we were expecting action to be taken, not the statement, and it ends there. This is not only happening at Kitwe Central Hospital. It's just that they were, you know, an incident was recorded there. But there are several other institutions that are in that state. Are you also? That's one of the, that's one of the biggest hospitals in Zambia.
Zambia.
Yes.
So ngangala bura kono tumatenda tunangochwa ku nyumba but pava kudya papita akoswe. And then ngana plus matenda.
That's from one of the richest provinces in this country.
One of the richest provinces.
Yes.
And all the seats are held by the party that is in government.
All right. Our breakfast show is going to die prematurely for today.
Adjance in a day.
It adjants in a day.
You have created a vacancy at the Bank of Zambia because the person you've appointed as governor needs to be ratified by Parliament, which is on recess.
Yes.
It's opening next month.
So we wait until
somebody will call and tell you, say, no, it is not just the Bank of Zambia governor. He has got deputies that are still there and technocrats. So the Bank of
there's
Zambia.
There's no CEO at the Bank of Zambia because it has to be ratified by Parliament, which is on recess.
Yes.
Until it resumes.
Next month.
Sitting.
Next month.
This only happens in Zambia.
And it is very unwise.
A doctor dies, the country is quiet.
It's very unwise.
No. The Ministry of Health talked about that. They recognized, they took cognizance of that particular matter. The health minister actually mentioned it. But for me, mention me when I am still alive. Don't wait until I am dead.
All right. It's
one life lost is a life too many, gentlemen.
It's been an emotional breakfast. Join Kelvin and team at 13 hours for lunchtime show, the Tang Thursday edition. Good morning.